Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the place that cuts through the noise, bringing you the clearest, most impactful insights from sources you share with us.
That's right.
And today, we're diving deep into a book that, well, it's sparked a global conversation, hasn't it? Really challenged how millions think about money.
We're talking about Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Exactly.
It's really a foundational book for so many people getting into personal finance. And this deep dive, it's pulling from key excerpts, key ideas from that work.
And it all centers around his upbringing, right? These two very different father figures.
Yeah, profoundly different. You've got his biological dad, highly educated, PhD, government job, who he calls his poor dad.
Okay.
And then there's his best friend's father, didn't finish 8th grade, but became a really successful entrepreneur. That's his rich dad.
And it's these sort of contrasting viewpoints that really form Kiyosaki's unique and sometimes pretty controversial take on wealth. So our mission today is to unpack the core lessons from these two worlds of money. We're looking for those surprising facts, those aha moments that might just shift how you view money, work, maybe even financial freedom.
Helping you get really well informed, but, without feeling totally overwhelmed by it all.
Let's dig in. So Kiyosaki kicks things off by setting up these two key figures. His actual dad, the poor dad.
Right, the highly educated one,
Yeah.
government leader. And then Mike's dad, his best friend's father, the rich dad, who, dropped out early but built wealth.
It's really striking, isn't just that they gave different advice, but how he uses them to represent these sort of invisible scripts, these ideas we live by without even thinking.
Exactly. It's like the subconscious programming around money that dictates our choices. He's trying to make us aware of that, of where those ideas even come from.
That's a really interesting way to put it. He definitely highlights how opposite their philosophies were right from the start. Can you give us some specific examples?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the stark examples. Take the idea of money and evil. Poor dad often said, the love of money is the root of all evil.
A classic saying.
Right. But rich dad,
Yeah.
he flipped it. The lack of money is the root of all evil.
Wow, okay, that's a big difference. What about career advice?
Huge difference there, too. Poor dad's advice was, study hard so you can find a good company to work for. Standard advice.
Pretty standard, yeah.
Rich dad said, study hard so you can find a good company to buy.
To buy, not just work for. That's a fundamental shift in perspective right there.
It changes everything. And it flowed into how they viewed family and money, too.
How so?
Well, poor dad might say something like, the reason I'm not rich is because I have you kids. Kind of blaming them, maybe unintentionally.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah. Whereas rich dad would say, the reason I must be rich is because I have you kids. It became his motivation.
Motivation versus limitation. And risk. I imagine they differed there too.
Completely. Poor dad. When it comes to money, play it safe. Don't take risks. Rich dad. Learn to manage risk. Not avoid it. Manage it.
So these aren't just biographical tidbits, are they? He's using them to show completely different ways of thinking about the world.
Precisely. It forces the reader, like it forced him,
Yeah.
to confront these opposing paradigms about wealth.
So having these two, really influential but totally conflicting voices, how did he say that affected him? How did he process that?
Well, he says the key wasn't just picking one and ignoring the other. The real value came from having to think, to compare them, to ask, okay, why does poor dad say that? Why does rich dad say that?
So it forced active thinking, not just passive acceptance.
Exactly. He found that mental exercise, that choosing for himself, was way more valuable than just inheriting one viewpoint. And this, he argues, is a critical skill that, schools just don't teach.
That's one of his biggest points, isn't it? The gap in education regarding money. Why does he think that's so critical, even for, say, doctors or lawyers?
It's absolutely fundamental to his whole philosophy. Schools are great at teaching academic skills, professional skills. They train you to be a good employee, a good doctor, a good accountant.
Right.
But they don't teach financial skills,
Right.
financial literacy. And that, he believes, is why you see incredibly smart, highly paid professionals struggling financially. They know how to earn money.
But not how to make it work for them.
You got it. They're trained to work for money, not to understand how money itself operates, how to make it grow independently.
Which sounds like the perfect lead-in to his very first rule for getting rich. He calls it absurdly simple.
Yeah, rule number one, and it sounds almost too simple. You must know the difference between an asset and a liability, and buy assets.
Okay, know the difference by assets. Why is something that sounds so basic actually so, well, revolutionary for many people? Why do we miss it?
That really is the core question. How does he define those terms to make them, truly actionable, not just accounting jargon?
Right, because accountants have definitions, but he simplifies it, doesn't he?
He cuts right through it. For Kiyosaki, it's purely about cash flow. Where is the money moving? An asset, he says, is simple. An asset puts money in my pocket.
Puts money in, okay.
And a liability, equally simple. A liability takes money out of my pocket. That's it. It's all about the direction of the cash.
So forget the labels for a second, just follow the money. He uses these little diagrams to show this, right? For different groups of people, let's start with the poor person.
Yeah, in his model, for a poor person, the income comes in, usually from a job, and it goes straight back out to cover expenses, taxes, rent, food, transport.
So paycheck to paycheck, essentially, no accumulation.
Pretty much.
Sure.
And crucially, no real assets generating any independent income. It's just an in and out flow.
Okay, then there's the middle class person. This is where he says a lot of educated folks end up. Their income goes up, but something else happens too.
Right. Their income increases, maybe significantly, but so do their expenses and, critically, their liabilities. They buy a bigger house, so bigger mortgage payment, nicer car, bigger car payment. Credit card debt often grows.
Ah, so the liabilities column gets bigger and bigger.
Exactly. And those liabilities take money out of their pocket every month.
Yeah.
So even with a higher salary, they feel stuck. That's what he calls the rat race.
Earning more, but more is going out, trapped in that cycle.
Precisely. Higher income doesn't automatically equal more freedom if your liabilities keep pace or outpace it.
But then the pattern for the rich person in his model is flipped.
Completely flipped.
Yeah.
For the rich, the primary source of income isn't their job, it's their asset column.
Okay, so what kind of things are in that asset column?
Things like rental income from real estate,
Yeah.
dividends from stocks, interest from bonds, royalties from, say, intellectual property like books or patents, things that generate money passively.
So the money flows from the assets.
Right, and that asset-generated income covers their expenses. But crucially, there's usually a surplus. And what do they do with that surplus?
Reinvest it.
Exactly. Reinvest it back into the asset column to buy more assets, which then generate even more income. It becomes this self-perpetuating cycle, money making more money.
It's about building the engine, not just running faster on the wheel.
That's a great way to put it. The focus shifts entirely from just salary to acquiring income-producing assets.
Now, this leads us straight into one of his most, let's say, debated points. The idea that your own house, your primary residence, is usually a liability, not an asset.
Oh yeah, that one definitely ruffles feathers. It goes against everything we're culturally taught about homeownership being the cornerstone of wealth.
So how does he justify that? How does he make that argument?
He just applies his simple cash flow rule. Does your house, the one you live in, put money in your pocket each month or take money out?
Well, for most people, it takes money out. Mortgage, property taxes, insurance, repairs.
Exactly. Those are all outflows,
Mm.
liabilities. He argues it also ties up a huge chunk of capital that could be invested in things that actually generate income.
Hmm.
So while your house might appreciate in value over the long term,
On a month-to-month basis, it's draining cash.
that's his point. It doesn't fit his definition of an asset based on cash flow.
And he also mentioned the dream home trap leading to more debt and this thing called bracket creep. What's that about?
Bracket creep is subtle. It's not just that you pay more tax because you earn more. It's that as your income rises, it can push you into a higher tax bracket, meaning a larger percentage of each additional dollar you earn goes to taxes.
Ah, so your net gain isn't as much as you think.
Right. Combine that with the bigger mortgage, higher property taxes, maybe more upkeep on that dream home. It just reinforces that middle-class pattern of higher income,
Yep.
but not necessarily more financial freedom.
Okay, so it's about understanding these underlying patterns. Now, Kiyosaki had his own sort of wake-up call while working at Xerox, right? Realizing he was making others rich.
Yeah, that was a pivotal moment for him. He was a top salesperson making good money, but he realized he was climbing someone else's ladder. He was building Xerox's asset, not his own.
And that's where his rich dad's advice came in. Own the ladder.
Exactly. Own the ladder, don't just climb it. It means owning the system, the business, the assets that generate income, rather than just being an employee within that system.
He had that quote about dollars being employees.
Oh yeah, it's vivid. Each dollar in my asset column was a great employee, working hard to make more employees and buy the boss a new Porsche with before tax dollars.
Before tax dollars, that's key. It really drives home that shift from working for money to having money work for you.
It's the core difference in philosophy.
So he draws this really clear line.